For years, many seniors have turned to vitamins as a trusted part of their daily health routine, believing they're doing everything right by adding supplements to support their energy, immunity, and overall wellness. Yet behind this well-meaning habit lies a surprising and growing concern that has begun to alarm doctors across the country. Because one particular vitamin, long assumed to be beneficial and even essential, is now being linked to accelerated aging, cognitive decline, and a host of unexpected side effects that are especially risky for older adults. And while it might seem unthinkable that something sold over the counter and marketed with images of vitality could actually be undermining your health, the truth is that the body's needs change with age, and what once worked well in your 30s or 40s can actually become harmful in your 60s and beyond, especially when taken in excess or without proper medical guidance. And that's where this vitamin enters the picture, because although it plays a crucial role in bodily functions like metabolism, immune regulation, and tissue repair, when taken at high levels over time, it can lead to inflammation, oxidative stress, and even cellular damage, quietly aging your body from the inside out while you believe you're protecting it. And what's more troubling is that this effect isn't always immediate. It can develop slowly, with subtle signs like fatigue, joint stiffness, dry skin, mood changes, or trouble sleeping symptoms. They're often chalked up to just getting older, but may actually be warning signals that your system is overloaded or out of balance. And the medical community is becoming increasingly vocal about the need to reevaluate how we approach supplementation in senior populations, especially when it comes to vitamins that accumulate in the body and don't flush out easily. And in the case of this particular vitamin, the problem lies not just in its presence, but in the dosage and frequency with which it's taken, often daily and in megadoses that far exceed what's actually needed. And while manufacturers are quick to advertise the benefits, they're much slower to acknowledge the risks, leaving seniors to rely on outdated assumptions or marketing hype that doesn't reflect the latest science. And the irony is that the very people who are most vulnerable to the negative effects, those over 60, are also the most likely to be taking this vitamin religiously, thinking they're doing the right thing for their health, when in fact, they may be compounding the very issues they're trying to prevent, such as frailty, memory lapses, or immune dysfunction. And it's not just about physical symptoms either, because emerging research is revealing that this vitamin, when taken excessively, may also affect brain aging, accelerating the breakdown of neurons and increasing the risk for cognitive disorders like mild cognitive impairment or even dementia in some cases. And that's deeply concerning, given how many older adults are already worried about protecting their mental clarity and staying sharp into their later years. And if the supplements they rely on are quietly undermining that goal, it becomes even more urgent to spread awareness and correct course. Yet despite the warnings, many people continue the habit simply because they've never been told otherwise. No one mentioned it at their last checkup. No article in their favorite magazine raised the issue, and they certainly didn't hear about it from the vitamin company that profits from daily sales. And this silence creates a dangerous gap in understanding, where well-intentioned behavior leads to unintended harm. And unless someone takes the time to question, research, and reconsider, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking more is better, that if a little vitamin helps, a lot must help more. But the body doesn't work that way, especially not as it ages. And in fact, too much of a nutrient can disrupt the body's natural regulatory processes, leading to imbalances in hormones, blood pressure, or calcium levels, depending on the specific vitamin. And in this case, the concern is so widespread among geriatric specialists and nutrition scientists that some are calling for labeling reforms and clearer dosage recommendations tailored to seniors, who metabolize nutrients differently and are often on medications that interact in complex ways, creating a cocktail of effects that no supplement bottle warns about. And when you look closely at how these vitamins became household staples in the first place, you begin to see that much of the messaging was built on broad, one-size-fits-all assumptions, designed for mass appeal rather than individual care. And while vitamins can be helpful in targeted cases, like addressing a known deficiency or supporting recovery from illness. They are not universally beneficial in high doses and should never be used without considering age, medical history, and dietary intake. Yet many seniors have never had a personalized nutrition review or been taught how to assess their actual needs based on blood work or professional evaluation. So they continue taking what they've always taken, unaware that the daily pill might now be doing more harm than good. And this is why doctors are speaking up now, urging older adults to stop and reassess, to look beyond the marketing and ask the hard questions. Do I actually need this vitamin? What's the right amount for someone my age? Could this be contributing to the issues I've been feeling lately? These are not easy questions, but they are essential ones, and they mark the beginning of a shift in how we think about supplements, not as harmless extras, but as powerful tools that must be used wisely, especially in older age when the stakes are higher and the body's margin for error is smaller. And in the next part, we'll break down exactly which vitamin this is, why it's causing such concern among medical experts, and what safer, smarter steps seniors can take instead to support their health without accelerating the aging process they're trying so hard to avoid. And the vitamin in question, the one now raising red flags among a growing number of doctors and researchers, is none other than vitamin B6, a nutrient often praised for its role in brain health, mood regulation, and energy metabolism. And while it's true that B6 is essential for the body to function properly, especially in helping to form neurotransmitters and supporting immune response, what's becoming clear is that when taken in excess, particularly through high-dose supplements, it can begin to do more harm than good, especially for older adults whose bodies process nutrients differently and whose nerve tissues become more sensitive with age. And while the recommended dietary allowance for B6 in people over 50 is just 1.5 to 1.7 milligrams per day, many over-the-counter supplements contain 5 to 10 times that amount or even more. And because B6 is a water-soluble vitamin, people assume that any excess is simply flushed out, but that's not entirely accurate, especially with prolonged high intake, because research now shows that chronic oversupplementation of B6 can lead to neurotoxicity. Yes, actual damage to the nerves, which often presents as numbness, tingling in the hands and feet, imbalance, or even burning sensations that can persist for months or years. And what makes it worse is that this damage can mimic other conditions common in aging, like peripheral neuropathy caused by diabetes, making it easy to overlook the real cause, which might just be the daily supplement you've trusted for years. And this isn't some fringe concern either. Multiple studies have linked long-term use of high-dose B6 supplements to sensory nerve damage, and doctors in geriatric medicine are urging older adults to be extremely cautious, especially because these symptoms don't appear overnight but build slowly, making them hard to trace back to a single source. And in some cases, even after stopping the supplement, recovery can take a very long time, and sometimes the damage is permanent. So the risks are not only real, but serious. Yet the shelves at pharmacies remain stocked with these high-dose tablets, often labeled as energy boosters or brain support, and consumers are rarely warned about the long-term dangers because regulatory oversight for supplements is far more relaxed than for prescription medications, which means marketing claims are made freely while risks are downplayed or buried in fine print. And what's especially troubling is that seniors are often encouraged by well-meaning friends, family, or even non-specialist health providers to take a B complex or to get more B vitamins for fatigue or brain fog, without ever being tested for an actual deficiency or understanding how much they truly need. And this leads to a pattern of oversupplementation that is both unnecessary and dangerous. And in a body over 60, where the nervous system is already more vulnerable and changes in nerve conduction are more likely, adding a constant stream of excess B6 becomes a perfect storm for neurodegenerative effects. And it's not just nerves that suffer. High levels of B6 can also interfere with sleep patterns, cause irritability, lead to confusion, and potentially disrupt hormonal balance, contributing to mood swings or unexplained anxiety. all of which can erode quality of life and independence over time. And because these symptoms develop slowly and subtly, they often go unreported or misattributed to aging itself, creating a blind spot in diagnosis and care. But imagine how different the picture would be if every senior had access to tailored nutritional assessments, if every doctor asked about supplement use during routine visits, and if every supplement label clearly warned against long-term high-dose use in people over 60, then perhaps we wouldn't see so many seniors struggling with pain, imbalance, or cognitive shifts that might have been prevented with a simple change in habit. And that is why awareness is key, because the more we understand the body's evolving needs in later life, the more empowered we are to make choices that support healthy aging, not hinder it. And in the case of vitamin B6, the best course for many older adults is to get it naturally from food sources like bananas, chicken, tuna, or fortified cereals, rather than relying on supplements that may contain unnecessarily high levels and create long-term risks. And when supplementation is needed, it should always be based on a confirmed deficiency, determined by a qualified medical provider who can monitor blood levels and adjust the dosage safely, rather than a guess or a blanket belief that more vitamins mean better health, because that belief, as comforting as it might feel, is outdated and often dangerous. And we are now learning that the path to longevity is not about flooding the body with pills, but about understanding its signals, listening to its changing needs, and respecting the fine balance that keeps everything functioning in harmony. And in the next section, we'll explore how to safely transition off high-dose B6 if you've been taking it, what signs to watch for in case of nerve-related side effects, and how to support your energy and brain health through safer, more sustainable methods that align with the unique requirements of the senior body. If you've been taking a daily B6 supplement for years and are now concerned about the risks you weren't previously aware of, it's completely understandable to feel surprised, confused, or even betrayed by the wellness advice that once seemed so straightforward and well-intentioned. And the good news is that making a shift doesn't require panic or drastic measures overnight, but rather a steady, informed approach to phasing out what may no longer serve your health and replacing it with strategies that work with your body, not against it, especially now that you're wiser about how the aging nervous system works and how certain nutrients can interact with your body in unexpected ways. And the first step for anyone who's concerned about possible overuse of vitamin B6 is to stop any high-dose supplements and talk with a healthcare professional, ideally a doctor who understands geriatrics or functional nutrition, so that they can evaluate whether any symptoms you've been experiencing, such as numbness in your hands or feet, balance issues, tingling sensations, unexplained fatigue, or brain fog, might be related to B6 toxicity or something else entirely. Because many seniors assume that things like poor memory or physical instability are inevitable parts of aging. But in truth, they can sometimes be reversed, or at least improved, once the body is no longer under the stress of excessive nutrients. And a blood test for B6 levels can confirm if you've built up an unhealthy surplus, which is often the case in people who have unknowingly been taking 5, 10, or even 20 times the recommended daily allowance, often from a combination of multivitamins, fortified foods, and targeted supplements. And if toxicity is confirmed, your doctor may recommend stopping supplements immediately and monitoring symptoms, while also evaluating whether there are other contributing factors such as medication interactions or diet-related imbalances that might be making the issue worse. And while your body does have the ability to process and clear excess B6 over time, recovery from nerve-related side effects may take weeks or even months, depending on the severity and duration of use. And in some rare cases, full recovery may not be possible if the damage is extensive, which is why early awareness and prevention are so critical, especially in people over 60 who are already more prone to nerve degeneration simply due to the natural aging process. And in addition to medical monitoring, It's also important to support the body's recovery process with nutrient-rich, anti-inflammatory foods that help stabilize the nervous system and promote cellular healing, which includes a diet full of leafy greens, omega-3 rich foods like salmon or walnuts, and hydration practices that keep the bloodstream clean and efficient at eliminating waste. And instead of relying on a pill to provide B6, consider adding natural sources of this vitamin in small, safe amounts through foods like chickpeas, chicken breast, avocado, and potatoes, which provide this nutrient in a form that is far less likely to overwhelm your system. And more importantly, is paired with other nutrients and fiber that allow for better absorption and regulation. And when you shift your mindset from "what can I take" to "what can I absorb" in a balanced way, your whole relationship with health begins to evolve from chasing short-term boosts to building long-term resilience. And that includes not just looking at vitamins, but also considering how sleep, movement, and stress management play key roles in how your body uses the nutrients you already consume. Because you might be surprised to learn that stress alone can increase the body's need for B6 while also altering how it is processed, meaning that supplementing without addressing stress could just be putting a band-aid on a deeper imbalance. And that's why many integrative physicians now emphasize a whole body approach, encouraging seniors to focus on consistent daily habits rather than quick fixes, such as gentle daily walking to improve circulation and brain oxygenation, quality sleep routines to support nerve regeneration, and mindfulness practices that help lower inflammation and stabilize hormone levels, all of which contribute to the body's ability to stay sharp, strong, and balanced without needing megadoses of any one nutrient. And as this new understanding spreads, more seniors are beginning to reframe what healthy aging really looks like. It's not about loading up on supplements or trying to rewind the clock, but about giving your body what it actually needs right now. And that often means less intervention, not more, because when the body is flooded with inputs it doesn't know how to handle, the systems start to falter and age faster than they should. So if you've been feeling like something is off, but haven't been able to pinpoint the cause, now is a good time to take a closer look at your supplement drawer and ask whether everything you're taking is truly helping, or if one of those well-meaning pills might be quietly interfering with your health goals. And in the final part, we'll explore how to have an informed conversation with your doctor about your supplement routine, how to protect yourself from hidden sources of excess vitamins and processed foods, and how to build a smart, minimal, and personalized approach to supplementation that supports aging with strength, clarity, and confidence, not confusion or risk. As you begin to reflect on the information you've just taken in, it's important to remember that true control over your health doesn't come from jumping on every new trend or swallowing handfuls of supplements that promise energy, clarity, or youth, but rather from slowing down, listening to your body's signals, and making intentional choices that align with your age, your lifestyle, and your actual biological needs. And in the case of vitamin B6, what many seniors believe to be a safe, harmless daily boost has quietly revealed itself to be a potential contributor to the very issues it was supposed to prevent, a sobering but empowering realization that opens the door to smarter decisions going forward. And now that you understand how high-dose B6 supplementation can lead to nerve damage, sensory disruption, imbalance, sleep disturbances, and even accelerated aging, the next logical step is to initiate a conversation with your healthcare provider, not just a casual mention during a checkup, but a deliberate, focused discussion about everything you're currently taking, how long you've been taking it, and what your goals really are when it comes to maintaining energy, brain health, and vitality. Because most people, including doctors, don't always realize just how high the doses in common supplements are, especially when those supplements are combined with fortified cereals, drinks, or meal replacement products that also contain synthetic B6. And having this kind of honest conversation might feel intimidating at first, especially if your provider hasn't brought it up, but you have every right to advocate for yourself, to ask for blood tests that measure actual vitamin levels, and to request guidance that is tailored to your age and your individual health history. rather than relying on general recommendations that might be safe for younger adults, but are potentially harmful for older individuals whose nervous systems and metabolic rates are vastly different. And if your doctor doesn't seem informed about nutrient toxicity or isn't taking your concerns seriously, don't hesitate to seek a second opinion from a specialist in geriatric medicine, integrative health, or nutritional science who can help you reassess your supplement routine with fresh eyes and current research. And remember that it's not just about avoiding what's harmful, but about embracing what truly supports your well-being at this stage of life. And that often means prioritizing quality food sources, staying active, staying mentally engaged, and managing stress more effectively. Because all of these factors impact how your body absorbs, uses, and regulates nutrients. And when you give your body what it needs in the form of whole, nourishing foods and mindful living habits, you reduce your reliance on synthetic supplementation and eliminate the risk of overdosing on something that was meant to help. And in a culture that constantly markets more is better, especially to older adults who are vulnerable to promises of anti-aging and restored energy, it takes courage and wisdom to step back and ask, is this really working for me? Or is it working against me? And that simple question, asked honestly, can change your entire health journey. Because when you start to see your daily habits through the lens of long-term vitality instead of quick fixes, you naturally begin to simplify, to declutter your routine, and to tune into what truly supports your physical and mental strength. And for many seniors, this includes replacing unnecessary supplements with small, consistent upgrades like stretching in the morning to improve circulation, going for short walks after meals to aid digestion and regulate blood sugar, preparing colorful meals full of natural vitamins from fruits, vegetables, and proteins, drinking more water to flush the kidneys and support the nervous system, and maintaining a regular sleep-wake cycle that allows your body to repair and renew each night, all of which work together in a more powerful and sustainable way than any one vitamin ever could. And if you're someone who's been chasing energy through pills or trying to regain mental sharpness with a supplement alone, this might be the moment to pause, reassess, and begin building a more holistic plan, one that actually works with your biology instead of trying to overpower it. And yes, that might mean saying goodbye to the old habits that once seemed helpful, but now carry hidden risks. But it also means saying hello to a lifestyle that's more aligned with your values, your health goals, and your body's changing needs. And that's a powerful, liberating place to be, because aging doesn't have to mean decline, confusion, or dependence. It can mean clarity, strength, resilience, and self-knowledge, especially when you learn to read your own signals, to question advice that doesn't feel right, and to make adjustments based on facts, not fear or marketing. And if there's one takeaway from this entire discussion, it's this: you are your own best advocate, and you deserve to feel confident in the choices you make for your health. And the next time you reach for a supplement bottle, ask yourself, is this giving me what I need? Or could it be quietly taking something away? And let that question guide you to better conversations, better care, and ultimately, better health. Because knowledge like this isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to set you free from the guesswork and help you reconnect with the wisdom your body already holds. And as always, here at Healthful Living 60 Plus, we're committed to helping you make those informed, empowering choices so you can continue to age not only with grace, but with strength, clarity, and purpose every step of the way.